Corrin is the most important character in Smash Ultimate. Right, hear me out. She has good tools, good matchups, and could even solve the problem to our deepest, darkest fears. Today, we're going to have a bit of a retrospective, analysing Corrin from where she was at the start of Ultimate to where she is now. So, how has Corrin become more of a meta-relevant character than she ever was before? Let's have a quick history lesson and see where she was initially placed in the meta. When the game first came out, it was pretty agreed upon Corrin was one of the worst characters in the game, with one of her only notable achievements being Cosmos reverse to her own debuzz at Glitch 8. Her pin was heavily nerfed from Smash 4, which made neutral a lot harder for her, as pin has more end lag, the kit covers less distance, and is less generous with the window to connect the sweet spot. As well as this, neutral B was laggier, and the projectile followed up into bite less consistently, and down B had much less knockback and more end lag on the successful and unsuccessful hits. Despite being given multiple buffs throughout the first year of Ultimate, people still considered writing her off as a low tier character, and she had the lowest representation out of any character by the end of 2019. Let's fast forward a bit to around mid-2020. Everyone's stuck indoors, Boris Johnson's having parties, and Corrin receiving significant buffs. In patch 8.0.0, Corrin received damage buffs to forward air, back air, and up air, with side B receiving more knockback on the clean hits, and less end lag when jumping out of the pin. This was a pretty big deal for Corrin, as more of her moves had better KO potential, and her side B is more versatile, as she can jump out of pin 10 frames faster than before, which makes using the move in neutral less committal. Cosmos spearheaded her meta during the online period, being vocal about her buffs, but people were still unconvinced that she had any place in the metagame. It wasn't until the return of offline tournaments that people's perception on Corrin started to finally change. With players like Lai and Shattuck getting good results in their respective countries, and MK Leo prominently using her for the first half of 2022, beating players like Spargo and Gluttony, people started to think Corrin might be a lot better than originally perceived. This perception was only further established due to the emergence of Japanese Corrin player Neo, who earned a strong repertoire of wins and results only using solo Corrin. Now we're in 2023, the meta is starting to stabilise, with Steve and Kazuya creating outcries across the world. Is there any character that has a prominent matchup into both of them? Well, yeah, Corrin. Before we get into matchups, let's analyse why Corrin is a pretty effective character in today's meta. As we know, top level Ultimate is very much about getting that one hit and being able to push your advantage as much as possible. Due to Corrin's excellent combo game, safe aerials and big hitboxes, she's able to make the most of this. For example, have you seen the size of up air? It's incredible! Not just for catching landings, but capitalising on whiffed approaches too. Not just that, but the move's knockback growth means it's very good at comboing at lower percents, and killing at higher percents. She's also pretty decent in neutral. This is due to her disjoints and safe pressure, which can allow her to wall out approaches. Let's not forget about back air. It can also help in neutral due to its range and power, making it a low committal move with a high reward. It's also extremely valuable when edgeguarding too. The buffs on back air means she can kill a lot earlier, making her edgeguarding potential even more threatening than it already was. So, let's get into matchups. The metric I'm relying on here is Neo and Shattuck's combined matchup chart. And hey, look! They think Corrin beats both Steve and Kazuya. They also think she beats other meta-relevant characters, such as Rob and Pac-Man. And she has a small advantage over Wolf, Mario and Sonic. That's a pretty good resume for someone ranked as a mid-tier on the official tier list. And you can never go wrong with having a winning matchup into the Ice Climbers. Despite this, they seem to think Corrin has some really bad matchups, those being Sheik, Snake, Fox, Shulk and Sephiroth. Sheik and Fox just have better mobility, frame data, and neutral games, which make it extremely hard for Corrin to keep up with them. Shulk and Sephiroth can just outrange her, and Snake just has good zoning tools, and his grenades trade with a lot of Corrin's moves. Also, Corrin's lacking mobility especially hinders her in this matchup. Yes, matchups are more complex than this, but we don't have all day to discuss them now, do we? So, the question: is Corrin the most important character in Smash Ultimate? Not necessarily, but I do believe she has a very strong place in the current meta. Having such prominent matchups into some of the most common characters in the game is always going to put you a step above the rest of the cast. And her overall matchup spread is still pretty strong. Yes, she still has some awful matchups, but not many characters in this game don't. If you want my opinion, I personally believe she's an extremely valuable character to have if you're considering a counter pick. However, as evidently seen at Super Smash Con 2023, solo Corrin is more than viable to get you far, as proven by 3 of them being in top 32. The perception on Corrin has drastically changed since her inception into Ultimate. From her being considered one of the worst in the game, to her now often being considered a high tier, I think as people continue to push her meta and further work on matchups, I do believe it'll only be a matter of time until we see Corrin reach even higher heights. Hope you guys enjoyed this different video format. If you liked it and have any recommendations of other characters you'd like me to cover in the future, let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, why don't you check out my guides playlist? I got a bunch of guides which aim to help you improve at Smash. Alright, I'm out. Till next time guys, have a good one.